Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping straight in to unpack what I like to call the ultimate detective tool for diagnosing those incredibly frustrating bugs that somehow only happen on mobile. So let's dive right into this and turn you into an absolute performance sleuth.
You know the exact ticket I'm talking about, right? You open your queue and there it is. Just a vague, classic ghost bug report from a user, maybe out in a remote region somewhere, simply stating, "The checkout page never loads on my phone." It's exactly the kind of report that makes us support engineers sigh heavily. Mostly because, well, when you click the link, it loads absolutely perfectly for you.
And really, this right here brilliantly illustrates why that happens. The dreaded works on my machine syndrome. For us developers or support engineers, we're usually sitting on an instant fiber connection with virtually 0 milliseconds of latency. But for the user, they might be commuting on a congested mobile 3G network, getting hit with up to 2,000 milliseconds of latency. You are quite literally experiencing two completely different internets.
Step 1. Revealing the hidden magnifying glass.
So how do we actually bridge this massive gap without leaving our comfy desk chairs? Well, we use a built-in superpower you've probably had sitting right there in your browser all along, Chrome DevTools. The workflow for this is incredibly clean and simple. First, just press F12 on your keyboard, or right-click anywhere on the page and hit Inspect. Second, navigate over to the Network tab at the top of that DevTools panel. And third, look for the little drop-down menu that usually says No Throttling. Guys, this tiny drop-down is literally your gateway to simulating real-world user environments.
What's super interesting about these built-in Chrome presets is what they actually do behind the scenes. When you select Fast 3G, you're mimicking an average mobile connection in an urban area. That's roughly 1.6 megabits per second download and maybe 150 milliseconds of latency. But if you bump that down to slow 3G, you are simulating a really poor congested network. We're talking just 400 kilobits per second and a massive 2,000 millisecond delay. Simply selecting one of these instantly downgrades your ultra-fast fiber to match your user's daily struggle.
But wait, hold up. Before you go smashing that refresh button, there is a crucial aha moment here that trips up even the most seasoned engineers. You absolutely cannot forget the cache. If you simply throttle the network and then reload the page, your browser is still going to pull all those images and scripts right from your lightning-fast local hard drive, which, completely ruins the test.
So the absolutely mandatory step here is that you must check the Disable Cache box right next to that throttling dropdown. Clicking this forces the browser to fetch every single asset freshly from the server. It simulates a true cold load, and that is exactly what a first-time visitor or someone who just cleared their phone's cache is going to experience when they land on your site.
Step 2. Custom throttle profiles.
Now, sometimes those default presets just aren't specific enough for the ticket you're trying to solve. If a user actually gives you specific details about their connection speed, you can map the exact latency and bandwidth parameters to match them perfectly. Just click that same throttling dropdown, go down to Custom, and click Add. From there, you just punch in the exact download speed, upload speed, and latency. You can even simulate an offline environment to see how your site's service workers handle the whole connection dropping out entirely.
Actually, scratch that. Let's take a really quick peek under the hood to understand the mechanics here. Chrome DevTools uses what is called request-level applied throttling. This means it doesn't throttle at the packet level like your operating system naturally would. Instead, those delays are mathematically added after the server response is received, and the available bandwidth is split equally across all your concurrent requests. It even compensates for the time to first byte to make the whole simulation feel incredibly realistic. Basically, it's a highly effective approximation for hunting down front-end bottlenecks.
Case study: the broken checkouts. Okay, let's actually apply this to a real-world scenario. Imagine an e-commerce demo site with a cart abandonment rate on mobile has just suddenly spiked to 15%. Let's trace our investigator's exact timeline here. First, the ticket drops. The checkout is hanging for a mobile user. Second, instead of just shrugging because it loads fast for us, we open up DevTools and lock in that slow 3G profile. Third, we check the Disable Cache box. And fourth, we hit reload and watch the DevTools waterfall chart start to seriously struggle.
As the page slowly, painfully renders, the waterfall chart exposes a dramatic visual difference compared to when we had it unthrottled. We see this massive bottleneck. One single resource is taking an absolute eternity to download, and because of how the page was built, it is entirely blocking the payment iframe from loading. So the user is literally just staring at a blank, empty space where their credit card form is supposed to be. No wonder they're leaving.
And what exactly is the culprit holding up this whole shebang? A whopping 4 megabyte, completely unoptimized hero image. I mean, on a fast fiber connection, this loads in like 300 milliseconds. You barely blink. But on our simulated slow 3G network, this massive, uncompressed file takes an agonizing 12 seconds to load. It's hoarding all the bandwidth like a digital traffic jam and just absolutely destroying the mobile experience.
But here's the good news. Because we found the exact bottleneck using our new throttling trick, we can hand the engineering team some immediate, highly actionable fixes. The solutions are crystal clear here. Convert that massive image to modern lightweight formats like WebP or AVIF. Compress the life out of it. Implement lazy loading so the below-the-fold images don't block the critical stuff. And finally, drop in a fetch priority equals high attribute for the assets that actually, matter for getting paid.
And honestly, this right here brilliantly illustrates the immense value of this workflow. To put this into perspective, before optimization, users on 3G were waiting an agonizing 12 seconds just for the first contentful paint. But after applying our fixes, that load time plummets to a snappy 2.5 seconds. Cart abandonment drops back to normal. And it's all because a support engineer knew how to accurately simulate a slow mobile network and pinpoint the exact failing resource.
So, I'm going to leave you with this question. What hidden bugs are you going to uncover today? By leveraging the Chrome DevTools Network Throttling feature, and of course remembering to disable that cache, you don't ever have to guess what your users are experiencing again. You can step directly into their shoes, turn those vague, annoying bug reports into totally solved mysteries, and fundamentally improve your application's user experience. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now get out there and go find those bottlenecks.